This is Bongirezi Yambo, the news on Zodiac, the headlines this hour. Parliament summons central medical stores and DHOs over acute drug shortage in public hospitals. Lilongwe City Council moves in to construct drainage systems in areas prone to floods. And Ministry of Education says it is worried with the poor start of standard 8 examinations in some parts of the country. And in sports news, Nyasa Big Bullets arrive in South Africa ahead of the CAF Champions League first leg against Amazulu this Friday. Now the news in detail. The Parliamentary Committee on Health has summoned officials from the central medical stores and district health officers to understand the root cause of acute drug shortages in the country. Chairperson of the committee, Dr. Matthew Zungwale, has told Zodiac that it is difficult to tolerate the current drug shortages when Parliament advocated for increase in funding towards procurement of drugs in the budget, which is running, but the opposite is happening. Meanwhile, health expert Professor Adamson Muula says the problem is too deep. Andrew Viano filed this report.
Malawi's government hospitals are experiencing critical shortages of medicines. Health Minister Kumbise Kandodo acknowledged the situation is dire, saying the country's national drug warehouse, the Central Medical Stores, has nearly run out of some medicines. She is, however, quick to mention that government is in the process of procuring drugs. The situation has compelled Parliamentary Committee on Health to summon stakeholders involved in a quest to find a lasting solution. Chairperson of the committee, Dr. Matthew Zungwale, says it is uncalled for that the country's public health facilities should be running out of essential medical drugs when the budget allocations towards procurement of drugs was increased.
Also, the drugs at central medical stores are supplied by certain individuals, and these companies that supplied in drugs are normally paid very late, and that has caused problems. In some cases, they've overcharged their supplies.
Public health expert Professor Adamson Muula says while funding towards procurement of drugs was increased, there is need for enhanced preventive measures to reduce pressure on need for more essential drugs.
Disease prevention is falling behind. We are seeing that we are concentrating on treatment instead of concentrating on prevention.
In the 2021-2022 national budget, Ministry of Health was allocated 187 billion kwacha. Recently, Health Minister Kumbise Kandodo said her ministry has outsourced 1.5 billion kwacha towards procurement of essential drugs for public hospitals.
Minister of Health Kumbise Kandodo says the administration of Johnson & Johnson vaccine has hit 75% of the 302,400 doses Malawi received through COVAX facility. As of yesterday, 215,716 doses of J&J had been administered, with the minister expressing hope that the remaining 86,000 doses will be depleted in the next 2 weeks. Chiwamparata reports.
Minister of Health Kumbise Kandodo is hopeful all the 302,400 doses of Johnson & Johnson will be used in the next 2 weeks now that 215,000 doses have been administered to Malawians. Low uptake of J&J raised concerns that the country might not complete all the jabs before they expire. Chibonda was speaking at Capitol Hill in Lilongwe as Ministry of Health received gadgets that will aid storage of a new vaccine type, Pfizer, which the country is to receive.
So it's going to help us because our wish is that we need to have as many Malawians as possible vaccinated. Our target is at least to have 11 million Malawians vaccinated by December next year.
The portable gadgets, 30 in total, have been donated by the American government through United Parcel Service. Michael Andrew is the organization's Atra Code Chain project in Malawi.
It's as user-friendly as possible. However, there are some technical things to work through. And as part of that, the UPS Foundation has provided in-person training. That's what I'll be doing here. So in the next week or two. U.S.
Ambassador to Malawi, Robert Scott, asked Malawi government to put up measures that would woo many Malawians to take the vaccine.
Everybody who has an opportunity to should get vaccinated. This will save your life. The message from all of us here in the Malawi government, the U.S. Embassy here, UPS, is please take advantage of the vaccines.
Pfizer will become a third vaccine Malawi is to administer, as 300,000 doses are those expected by end this month. but the vaccine demands a regulated temperature, and this will aid delivery of the vaccines in remote areas. This is Chimwemwe Parata for Zodiac.
Lilongwe City Council has moved in to construct drainage systems in areas prone to flash floods triggered by lack of facilities. Speaking after touring the construction works and other development projects activities in the city, Lilongwe City Mayor Councillor Juliana Kaduya said the council has lined up several infrastructure projects to improve people's livelihoods. However, some of the residents we interviewed during the tour demanded more efforts in addressing challenges such as limited access to clean water. Winston Kaimira reports.
When Lilongwe City Mayor Councillor Juliana Kaduya toured some infrastructure development projects which Lilongwe City Council was implementing, she was impressed with progress made so far. The projects include construction of a sewer line system, bridges and drainage systems, as well as upgrading and maintenance of some roads. It is expected that the drainage system will reduce flash floods that are experienced in the rainy season due to unavailability of the facilities in locations such as Area 49. Through use of the new sewer line system, the council expects to address challenges of water contamination such as the one which was experienced in Area 18 in 2017. Engineer Yusuf Abubakar, who is team leader for the contractor of the sewer line system project, Sajid Consultant, says almost 40% of the job has been done.
The quantities that it should be executed by this contract, it should be 45 kilometers of main pipeline and 3,000 of house connection. Now overall of the progress of the contractor reached to 40%.
But some of the Lilongwe residents we interviewed during the mayor's tour, including village head Robert of TH Douglas area, demanded more efforts in addressing challenges such as limited access to clean water. The mayor said there are a number of development projects to address challenges affecting the livelihood of Lilongwe residents.
As of now, we have toured area 47, we have seen Chipiku, 25, this is 49, Senti Bridge, and soon we'll be having a road Tenza, area 25 Tenza. We have already identified the contractor. We have a process. Contractors, when they bid, the City Council will do the evaluation, then it will go to BBDA like that. So as of now, Area 5 Zenza, it's at BBDA, plus Kauma.
The projects are being financed by both government and the country's development partners, such as the World Bank. Winston Kaimira reporting for Zodiac.
And the High Court in Lilongwe has rebuffed an application by former Budget Director Puyo to hear again their case. Puyo and 18 others wanted the court to hear them again on the basis that a new judge has taken over the 2.4 billion kwacha Cashgate case. We have this report from by Weston Guda.
Following the retirement of Judge Esme Chombo, the judiciary assigned Justice Ruth Chinangwa in the ongoing 2.4 billion kwacha Cashgate case involving former Budget Director in the Ministry of Finance, Puyo, and 18 others. This led to the accused appealing for a stay order until the change was reviewed, but Justice Chinangwa has rebuffed the appeal, saying the judicial proceedings review is a separate matter. Chombo, who has since been appointed to a diplomatic mission, handled the criminal case from 2015 to June this year when she delivered a ruling on an application by the suspects that she should recuse herself. The application by the defense this time was dismissed in its entirety, and that the case will continue with the hearing of remaining defense witnesses. Reporting for Zodiac, I'm Weston Guta.
And the Ministry of Labour has admitted that workers in the country are still facing injustice at workplaces under COVID-19 pandemic. Deputy Minister of Labour Vera Kamtukule says employers are taking advantage of the COVID-19 situation by cutting salaries without notice, as well as firing their employees regardless of the COVID-19 guidelines that are set. She said this Wednesday in Lilongwe during the launch of the Malawi Decent Work Country Program. Zuleika Nanguo filed this report.
Ministry of Labour says workers in the country are facing several forms of injustice in their various workplaces, as employers are taking undue advantage of the COVID-19 situation. Speaking during the launch of the Malawi Decent Work, Deputy Minister of Labour Vera Kamtukule says worse still, some Malawians have lost their jobs amid the pandemic.
We do understand that business has been disrupted. People are not making as much profit as they were making before, thereby disturbing a whole socio-economic system. And as government, we are very much concerned. So what we are doing is we have stepped up our workplace inspections, and we are continuously orienting employers on the COVID-19 workplace guidance.
Meanwhile, Malawi Congress of Trade Union President Charles Kumchenga says the union has recorded a number of cases of injustices in workplaces.
We have been working together hand in hand with the Minister of Labour, and in some places some people are suffering in custody without being addressed. So because of that, that's why we said we need to at least fasten the processes so that those should be released or charged.
Decent Work Country Program was introduced by International Labour Organization ILO in 2004 and aims at coordinating, harmonizing and aligning technical assistance and financial resources around an achievable set of priorities.
And you're watching news on Zodiac. We'll be right back. Stand by.
Ian, why are you hiding?
I took some money on Caterpillar from that guy.
Really?
Yes.
Why did you have to take some Caterpillar from that guy, Ian?
I just needed a ticket to a music concert.
Come on, Ian. You need to have some valid reasons on why you want to borrow some money. And why are you taking some money from Caterpillar when there are some registered institutions in this country? You can go to banks. You can join some circles. There are microfinance institutions out there where you can go and borrow some money. And the good thing with these institutions is that when you go to borrow some money, they advise you on how much money you can borrow, comparing with your income. And there are also some terms and conditions you need to understand before borrowing some money. Okay. The issues of interest rates, the issues of a repayment plan, how are you going to be servicing the loan, the issues of collateral. All these things, they are clearly laid out when you go to these registered institutions than taking money from that Caterpillar guy. Eh? This is an embarrassment. Ian, he is coming.
Borrow wisely. Pay back your loans. Always read and understand the terms and conditions before signing any financial contract.
Mipando ya sofa, dining set, mabedi, coffee table zisamakhale ngati zolandira kuli kufanana ayi. Ku Davina Furnishers amapanga mipando, masofa set, dining set mmene inuyo eni yake mukufunira, podziwa kuti anthufe timakhala nkukonda kosiyanasiyana. Awuzeni a Davina Furnishers akupangireni zinthu zolongosoka, anthu ena asirire. Davina Furnishers ili pafupi ndi Gateway Mall, kungoloka msewu wochokera ku Mchinji roundabout ku Lilongwe. Ino amaloji, mahotel ndi onse okonda zinthu zabwino, chitani telefoni ku nambala iyi: Davina Furnishers 0999 002 707.
Welcome back. A look at the headlines as we continue the news. Parliament summons central medical stores and DHOs over acute drug shortage in public hospitals. Lilongwe City Council moves in to construct drainage systems in areas prone to flash floods. Minister of Education says it is worried with the poor start of standard 8 examinations in some parts of the country. And in sports news, Nyasa Big Bullets arrive in South Africa ahead of the CAF Champions League first leg against Amazulu this Friday. Moving on, the Ministry of Education says it is worried with the poor start of the primary school leaving certificate examinations in some parts of the country. Minister responsible Agnes Nyalonje cited learners not to using desks, using dark rooms, as well as some with visual impairments attempting the wrong paper as some of the hitches that rocked the first day of the examinations. Education expert Benedito Kondowe has this called for quick response from heads of schools, saying a negative environment may affect the outcome of the results. Nomsa Zimba filed this report.
The primary school leaving certificate examinations have commenced in the country, with low turn-ups in some centers and theft of examination materials at Chikwawa Primary School in Rumpi. We have, however, been informed that in Lilongwe, Blantyre and Mzuzu, the national exercise has started well. Minister of Education Agnes Nyaronje, who visited some examination centers, has noted that some education zones did not fully prepare, as some students were writing exams in dark rooms and some using their knees as there are no desks. Nyalonje has told us that she also noted that some of the candidates with visual impairment are also facing challenges, as some using braille material were given the wrong paper and some given papers with the unjustified font size.
So there wasn't enough desks and a number of candidates were writing from their knees.
Commenting on the matter, education expert Benedicto Kondowe says these concerns should be treated with urgency for effective examination results.
My own view is that these gaps have to be remedied as soon as possible so that we proceed with the next set of papers in an environment that is enabling.
MANEB has this year complained of a decrease in number of students enrolled to attempt exams compared to last year in both secondary as well as primary schools.
Girls in Sanje have taken duty bearers to task to address acts of gender-based violence haunting them. The girls have raised various forms of abuses facing them, including defilement, which they claim are impacting negatively on their education. They spoke in an interview with Zodiak during the commemoration of the Day of the African Child, which took place at Kanjedza Primary School in the Ero Traditional Authority Chimombo in Sanje. Alfred Guta reports.
The girls took advantage of the commemoration of the Day of an African Child to voice out their concerns. They told Zodiac that abuses such as defilement are impacting negatively on their education. The girls aged 11 and 12 have called for more action against the vice. The Sanje District Council chairperson Rose Maki has assured the children that efforts are being made by the council and its partners to eliminate the same. Meanwhile, District Commissioner Meniso Machaya says his office is geared to ensure that the district's children are safe from various forms of abuses.
As a council, we are geared and we have agreed that we should frame our developments to address major problems that we are actually facing in order to shape the future of tomorrow through the young who are our leaders of tomorrow. So that's exactly what we are also trying to do.
Sanje District Gender Officer Edison Njembe last month disclosed that his office had recorded over 400 child marriages from April 2020 to July 2021. Njembe said they had terminated 308 child marriages. The Day of an African Child was commemorated under the theme 30 years after adoption of the Charter, accelerate implementation of Agenda 2040 for an African Fit for Children. For Zodiac in Sanje, this is Alfred Kuta reporting.
There is hope that over 240 enterprises will be certified by Malawi Bureau Standards (MBS) by the end of this year, which experts say will increase the capacity of small and medium enterprises (SMEs) to compete on the international market. MBS Vice Board Chairperson Philip Makumula has told Zodiac they have cut by half fees that SMEs pay to be certified to strengthen their operations and assist government in creating the 1 million jobs. Christopher Sunday reports.
The Malawi Bureau of Standards, MBS, says he's working very hard together with his Small and Medium Development Institute, SMEDI, to ensure that small and medium enterprises, SMEs, are certified. MBS Vice Board Chairperson Philip Makumula told us that his organization is targeting to certify over 240 SMEs, including those that produce foodstuffs, in order to create job opportunities and improve the economy of the country.
In Malawi, sometimes people don't buy goods because they say they are not of quality. And this training is aimed specifically at making sure that the peanut butter or the acha, the yogurt that our colleagues are going to produce is of very good standard, international standard. And that way, Malawians will surely go and buy that.
SMED manager for the South, Luce Limbe, said they will continue monitoring the activities of SMEs to ensure that they are adhering to minimum operational standards.
There are a lot of benefits because, as you know, our president has been advocating for 1 million jobs. The SMEs, you know, they make it's the engine of the economy. So if we don't empower SMEs, because we know SMEs employ a lot of people.
Owner of Buti Investment, Elizabeth Chakaza, has commended MBS and SMED for implementing initiatives that will empower SMEs in the country. Reporting for Zodiak from Blantyre, this is Christopher Sunday.
We now go to sports news. Nyasa Big Bullets have arrived in South Africa ahead of CAF Champions League first leg against Amazulu in Durban this Friday. The team left the country Wednesday morning. The return leg is scheduled for next week at the Bingu Stadium in Lilongwe. Sambanda reports.
A Nyasa Big Bullets delegation comprising 20 players, 8 technical staff members and 2 administrative officials left this morning for Johannesburg, South Africa, before another 30 minutes flight connecting to Durban for the CAF Champions League preliminary round first leg tie against Premier Soccer League outfit Amazulu this Friday. The People's Team Chief Administration Officer Albert Chigoga was, however, non-committal on the expenditure for the delegation, but sources have confided in that the figures are hovering around 150 million kwacha, catering for both travel and accommodation costs. He said the club's expenditure is also expected to be more during the return leg in hosting the South African outfit and paying travel, accommodation and allowances for the officiating personnel.
There is an agreement with the Amazulu on how the two teams can take care of each other when Nyasa Big Bullets is in South Africa and Amazulu is in Malawi. There is no problem at all. I may not be committed to mention the amount that we are spending. Suffice to say that in Nyasa Big Bullets is spending quite a lot. But I think what is the most important is that there is no pressure in terms of our budget. But I can actually assure you that everything is in place.
Solom President Tia Somba Banda, who is also FAM's executive committee member, is heading the delegation. 4 players who were on national team duties in the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifying campaign with the Flames will join the squad in South Africa. Nyasa Big Bullets are expected to return home on Saturday and will camp in Lilongwe for the return leg slated for the Bingu National Stadium on 18th September.
That's about what we had time for in this edition of news. And before we go, a look at the headlines. Parliament summons central medical stores and DHOs of acute drug shortage in public hospitals. The Lilongwe City Council moves in to construct drainage systems in areas prone to flash floods. Ministry of Education says it is